I didn't expect a hug to become the moment my world shifted, but that's exactly what happened. My name is Derek, I'm 34, and I've been married to Fiona for 8 years. We had what most people would call a normal life: jobs, bills, a dog named Rufus, and a small apartment in Manchester. I thought I knew her. I thought we were solid. But sometimes, the smallest gestures reveal the deepest cracks. It was a Saturday night, one of those office parties that feel like a chore disguised as fun. I'd spent the day finishing work, thinking about how I'd like to unwind, maybe enjoy a drink, laugh a little with my colleagues. Fiona had insisted she'd come, though I'd noticed she'd been unusually quiet all week. I didn't read much into it. She'd been stressed with her design projects, long hours, deadlines. I figured tonight would be a relief. When I arrived, the party was in full swing. People were laughing, music buzzing through the rented hall, glasses clinking. I saw Fiona across the room, talking to some of her old friends from university. She smiled at me when our eyes met, and for a brief second, everything felt normal. I approached her, thinking I'd greet her like I always did, warm, steady, familiar. "Hey," I said, holding out my arms for a hug, and she recoiled, not a small step back, more like she physically leaned away from me, eyes flashing. Her lips curled, not in a smile, but in a sort of sharp, dismissive twist. Then, before I could process it, she shouted across the room, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Derek, stop. I don't want to be touched, okay?" The room froze for a moment. Laughter stalled. Conversations halted. I stood there, stunned, my arms halfway out, my mind scrambling for what just happened. Fiona turned back to her friends, laughing nervously, like it was some kind of joke. But the look in her eyes told a different story: anger, frustration, and something I didn't understand. I spent the rest of the night trying to act normal, trying to blend in with the crowd, but inside, I was boiling. My friends noticed. Some of them came over, asked if I was okay, whispered that Fiona had lost it, but no one really knew what had triggered her. I didn't either. By the time we got home, the silence in the car was deafening. I didn't ask questions immediately. I didn't raise my voice. I kept my hands on the wheel, breathing in, trying to make sense of her behavior. When we stepped inside, Fiona went straight to the bedroom, muttering about needing space. I nodded, didn't argue, didn't chase her. I just went to the kitchen, poured myself a drink, and sat down. The next morning, I woke up early. She was still in the bedroom, curtains drawn, phone in hand. I had a choice, to confront her now or to let her be. I chose the latter. I went to make coffee, sitting quietly at the table, staring out the window, letting the sunlight fill the room. It was calm, but underneath, my thoughts were spinning. Eventually, she emerged, hair messy, face pale. I said nothing at first. I handed her a mug of coffee. She took it without a word. And then, finally, I asked, "Fiona, what happened last night?" She looked at me, eyes sharp now, voice controlled but icy. "What do you mean?" "The hug," I said. "In front of everyone, you yelled at me. You rejected me." Her shoulders tensed. She sighed, long, deliberate, almost like she'd been practicing this moment for herself. "I just can't deal with it, Derek. You always assume everything is fine, that I'm okay with everything. But I'm not. I don't want your touch. Not now. Not here." I felt a tight knot in my chest. Not anger, not sadness, more like disbelief. Every ounce of loyalty, every effort I'd made in this marriage, all the patience, all the quiet support, seemed to vanish in that instant. And yet, I stayed calm. I let her speak. I let her explain herself, even as every instinct screamed that something had broken. She went on, recounting her frustrations, how she felt unseen, how she felt suffocated, how our intimacy had slowly eroded over months, how she didn't feel close to me anymore. And as she spoke, I realized something. This wasn't about a hug. This wasn't even really about her. It was about the invisible walls we had built between us, the resentments we never addressed, the silent compromises that had become unbearable for her. I didn't interrupt. I didn't defend myself. I listened. And in listening, I felt a strange clarity settle over me. The next morning wasn't just about coffee or breakfast. It was about understanding what I had allowed to happen over the years. The small rejections, the subtle withdrawals, the growing distance, all of it had led to this moment. And I couldn't pretend anymore that it was just a bad night. I made a decision, not in anger, not in haste. but in quiet, resolute acknowledgement of reality. I couldn't keep hoping for something that was gone. I couldn't keep giving and receiving only silence in return. I had tried, repeatedly, to bridge the gap, to restore what we had. And now, the choice was mine. I told her calmly, I can't live like this, Fiona. I can't continue to be in a marriage where I'm rejected, ignored, and pushed away. I need to step back. For myself. Her eyes widened, and for a moment, I thought she might argue. She didn't. She simply nodded, lips pressed together, like she was expecting me to storm out or yell. I didn't. I packed a small bag, clothes, wallet, charger, and walked out the door. No shouting, no slam, no theatrics. Just quiet resolve. The morning air hit me as I stepped outside, crisp and clear. It smelled like rain from the night before. I took a deep breath and started walking. Not toward anyone, not toward revenge. Just away from the weight of a relationship that had become a slow, unnoticed erosion of trust, respect, and intimacy. I went to my friend Miles' apartment, someone I could trust. He didn't ask questions at first. He just handed me a beer and let me sit. I told him the story step by step. He listened, nodded, offered no judgments, just the steady presence I needed. And for the first time in months, I felt a strange kind of peace. Not happiness, not relief, but clarity. Looking back, I realized the hug at the party wasn't the problem. It was the signal, the visible crack that made invisible fractures undeniable. Rejection in front of everyone could have been embarrassing, humiliating, or rage-inducing. For me, it became a mirror, a way to see the truth I had been avoiding. That love isn't just what you give, it's what is returned. And when that return is silence, coldness, or anger, no hug, no apology, no words can fix it. I didn't leave in fury. I left in quiet dignity. I didn't yell. I didn't plead. I didn't threaten. I simply acknowledged the reality that Fiona's feelings had changed, that our connection was gone, and that I deserved to step into a life where respect, intimacy, and acknowledgement weren't conditional. That morning, as I walked away from our apartment, I felt something I hadn't in months. The air was lighter, my chest felt unburdened, my mind sharp. It wasn't joy, it was awareness. It wasn't vengeance, it was recognition. And in that awareness, I understood something profound. Leaving isn't always about anger. Sometimes, it's about reclaiming yourself, your dignity, and the life you still have ahead of you. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if reconciliation is possible or if forgiveness will ever come. But I know this. The hug at the party, the yelling, the rejection, it all led me to clarity. And in clarity, I found the strength to move forward on my own terms and finally, without fear.